Time now for our Sunrise Smart Start in both California and New York City. Government workers there are now required to be vaccinated or face regular COVID testing.
New York State will also mandate SUNY and CUNY students be vaccinated. Carmela Boykin joining us live this morning with details on this and what we expect campuses to look like this fall. Good morning, Carmela.
Good morning, Leah. Good morning, Mark. I'm live at MCC, a SUNY campus, where all students will be required to either get vaccinated or get regularly tested once the COVID vaccine is fully approved by the FDA. Right now, the vaccine is approved by the FDA under emergency authorization. There's no set timeline for when that will happen, but in the meantime, SUNY schools are making efforts through campus ambassadors and partnering with drugstores to encourage students to get vaccinated. SUNY Chancellor Jim Malatras says it's the only way to get back to a normal-looking semester.
That's what's going to make us come back to fully reopen in that more normalized process that everybody wants and deserves. So we're not waiting for the mandate. It's all hands on deck to get it done regardless.
And other private institutions across the state have already mandated getting a COVID vaccine, including RIT here in Rochester. With the new mask suggestions from the CDC, there's no word yet on if the mask requirements will change for vaccinated individuals. Reporting in Brighton, Carmela Boykin, News 8. Mark and Leah.
All right, certainly something we'll watch closely. Carmela, thank you. About 76% of SUNY students are currently vaccinated, according to officials. Faculty and staff will not have a vaccine mandate because of collective bargaining agreements, but SUNY still encourages everybody to get the vaccine.
Elsewhere, making headlines this morning across the globe, Simone Biles will not defend her Olympic title. The American gymnastics star withdrawing from Thursday's all-around to focus on her mental well-being. That decision coming a day after Biles removed herself from the team final because she felt she was not mentally ready. Jade Carey, who finished 9th in qualifying for the all-around, will take Biles' place in the individual competition.
A teenager is recovering after he was shot in Rochester last night. Officers responding to Dr. Samuel McCree Way just before 11 o'clock. When they arrived, they found a 17-year-old boy who had been shot at least once in the lower body. We're told the victim was taken to Strong Hospital and is currently being treated for a non-life-threatening injury. There are no suspects in custody.
More violence here. Officers also responding to a second shooting on 5th Street in the city. It happened around midnight. Officers on scene, a 29-year-old man arrived at Rochester General in a private vehicle as officers investigated. That victim had been shot at least once in the upper body. It was confirmed he was shot on 5th Street. The victim was treated at RGH for a non-life-threatening injury. There are no suspects in this investigation. Anyone with information being asked to call police at 911. All of this coming after what could have been a tragedy at a Rochester rec center last night. Have a look. Parents, children, and staff shaken there after a bullet was fired into the wall of that facility. Police say no one inside was injured.
So much violence in the city, and a Stop the Violence March and Community Forum will be held tonight in Webster. This as a collaborative event between the towns of Irondequoit, Penfield, and Webster, and Uniting and Healing Through Hope of Monroe County. That march is set to begin at 6:15 at North Ponds Park on Holt Road. The forum is scheduled for 7 o'clock.
Back to COVID. As cases surge nationwide, the CDC says it is time to go back to wearing masks. In areas of the country with high COVID transmission, the CDC says everyone should be wearing a mask in public indoor settings, regardless of their vaccination status. Students and staff in K through 12 should be wearing masks in school as well.
A town board member in the town of Walworth has been arrested after police received information about the possible sexual abuse of a child. 39-year-old Cody Phillips is charged with a course of sexual conduct against a child and endangering the welfare of a child. Earlier this month, another Walworth town board member, Correll Ambrose, was arrested and charged with attempted criminal sex act. Ambrose has since resigned. He is due back in court today at 8:30 this morning, and we, of course, will follow that.
Let's turn our attention to the forecast on this Wednesday morning. As we mentioned earlier, a little cooler than it was yesterday at this time. Pretty refreshing as you head out the door, James.
I like that word, Mark, refreshing. It looks good. Out there, 64 in Buffalo. Rochester, you're at 60 degrees, 61 in Dansville. We've got some 50s on the map. Penn Yan, Sodus, both in the upper 50s there. Hiking forecast. We have temperatures climbing into the mid-70s. I think it's a great day to get out there and maybe go on a small hike somewhere across the Finger Lakes or Rochester, or just a walk. It really should be a nice day there. No need for the umbrella, maybe sunglasses even, as we get through it this afternoon. It'll be an umbrella-worthy day with rain tomorrow, though. Last look at the 8-day and the commute forecast coming up. Mark, Leah.
All right, James, thank you. Time now to check the roads again with our sunrise traffic. Again, reports of some backups on 390 Ridgeway to the 490 interchange, so take note there. 490 and 590, though, up to speed at last check.
The congressional hearing to investigate the attack on the Capitol was an emotional one as 4 officers who defended the Capitol testified before lawmakers.
Washington correspondent Alexandra Limon has the latest.
Good morning. This first hearing focused on the perspective of law enforcement officers and what they went through that day. And some of those officers were visibly angry at the way this congressional investigation has been handled so far. Emotions boiled over Tuesday as law enforcement officers shared the injuries and trauma they suffered during the attack on the U.S. Capitol.
The indifference shown to my colleagues is disgraceful.
Officer Michael Fanone said he suffered a heart attack and concussion after being attacked. Fanone said the investigation into the insurrection on January 6th should not be partisan. He and 3 other law enforcement officers relived their experiences, telling lawmakers the mob simply outnumbered them.
I was grabbed, beaten, tased, all while being called a traitor to my country. I was at risk of being stripped of and killed with my own firearm.
The Select Committee is made up mostly of Democratic lawmakers after Republican leader Kevin McCarthy pulled most of the Republicans from the committee because Speaker Pelosi rejected 2 of his selections. But Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney, who is on the committee anyway, says Congress needs to investigate everyone's involvement in the attack.
We must also know what happened every minute of that day in the White House. Every phone call, every conversation.
And the second Republican on the committee, Congressman Adam Kinzinger, also made an impassioned case for thoroughly investigating the insurrection.
You know, democracies are not defined by our bad days. We're defined by how we come back from bad days.
Even before the hearing began, House Republican leaders held a press conference outside of the Capitol calling this investigation a sham. But the lawmakers on that committee say they plan to press forward aggressively, even planning to use subpoenas in order to get all of the facts. Reporting in Washington, Alexandra Limon.
On a much lighter note this morning, Bills training camp begins today. Sports Director Thad Brown will be live from Orchard Park as the team gets ready for the fall season. Our coverage of day 1 starts this afternoon at 4 o'clock. We're so going to miss them in Rochester, though.
Yes, but excitement for the coming season, no doubt. Here's what some folks might be talking about at the water cooler this morning. Have you heard about this? A new trailer for the highly anticipated sequel, Ghostbusters Afterlife, is scaring up some fan frenzy as they catch a glimpse of Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd returning in their iconic roles. The latest installment, directed and co-written by Jason Reitman, also stars Paul Rudd and Carrie Coon. Ghostbusters Afterlife hits theaters November 11th.
Now, I will go see that, for sure.
Yes. Dr. Peter Venkman, I believe that was Bill Murray's character.
Cool.
Yes, I'm all in for Bill Murray comedy, for sure.
Right.
Yes.
Whenever you can put him back on film, it's a good thing. Right.
Yes.
I think today's a great day for you to get outside, maybe. Wait until you get that rainy day to go see a movie. I think it's going to be a gorgeous day for you. Starting off right now somewhere in the low 60s. We warm up pretty nicely, though. We'll call it mid-70s this afternoon. I think tomorrow we briefly touch 80 degrees, but scattered showers and thunderstorms do move through as we get into the afternoon, and then as we head into the weekend, cooler air Friday. Look at that. We barely get into the low 70s there. We hold on to the 70s through the weekend. Saturday looks like the better of the 2 weekend days. Rain showers return as we get into the second half of the weekend.
All right.
So a cooler trend. Get ready for those 50s for overnight lows.
Yeah.
But it's not here to stay for the rest of the summer,
It can't. Yeah, we got to swing back closer to average. Hopefully that happens next month.
Okay. Thank you so much, and thank you for watching News 8 at Sunrise.
Our next update coming up in 30 minutes. CBS This Morning is up next. Have a great day.
Follow News 8 wherever you are on RochesterFirst.com, Facebook, Twitter, and on our app for news and weather.